My parents had declared they couldn't finance 2 children. Therefore, my sister's daughter was granted that trip. When they eventually came back, they discovered we'd moved out for good, and we had removed every single item I'd ever bought with us. They instantly started screaming. Emotional hook. First 10 seconds. Have you ever had a moment so crystal clear, so utterly devastating, that it felt like your entire world just snapped into focus? For me, it wasn't some grand betrayal or a shocking twist from a stranger. No, it was my own parents, looking directly at my 9-year-old daughter and telling her she wasn't worth it. And that's when everything changed. My name is Steven. I'm 36, and yeah, I'm a dad. My daughter, Lucy, is 9. She's this quiet, amazing kid who collects shiny rocks and lines them up like they're her personal crew. She's got a laugh that's like bubble wrap popping, pure joy. But she also feels everything. She knows when the air in a room shifts, often faster than I do. Besides being a dad, I'm the family's fixer, the guy who shows up with a toolbox, the older brother who gets called when the Wi-Fi acts up. I work construction, framing, drywall, decks, roofs. Most days, I smell like sawdust, and my forearms look like I arm wrestle fence posts for fun. I like things I can measure, levels, plumb lines, invoices that actually add up. In my family, I was always steady. My sister Mara, though, she was special. That one word, special, it covered everything. Good grades, bad choices, tickets, mistakes. She's special. And that word? It was like a wave that just kept pushing every bill, every problem, right to my doorstep. Lucy felt it the second my parents dropped their bombshell. It was a Sunday. The kitchen table was still humming with the smell of lemon cleaner and pot roast. My dad cleared his throat, the kind of theatrical clearing that usually means a speech is coming. My mom, she was meticulously folding a napkin, even though it was already perfect. Mara was just sitting there, phone face up, scrolling through. Nothing, probably. Her daughter, Ellie, who's 12, was wearing this sweatshirt that said Paris, even though her passport's as blank as mine. Lucy, she was swinging her feet under her chair, just barely touching the floor. Me? I was counting the silverware. It's what I do when I feel a speech brewing, a way to ground myself. Then Mom broke the silence, her voice too bright. We have news. She looked at Mara, a big, beaming smile. Then at me, and her smile shrank just a little. We booked a cruise in June. Family time. Cool, I said, trying to sound enthusiastic. Lucy will be so hyped. Dad held up a finger, like a referee about to call a foul. Well, we couldn't afford 2 tickets, son, he said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Just 2. So, we decided we'll take Ellie. She's older. She'll remember it more. He said it like it was simple math, an easy subtraction. 2 grandkids minus 1. My eyes went straight to Lucy. She didn't cry. Her little mouth did this brave, small thing, trying to hold everything in. Oh, okay, she whispered, looking down at her plate. She started pressing her peas with her fork, like she could somehow transform them into something else if she just pushed hard enough. Mara, she didn't even look at us. Makes sense, she chimed in, tapping her phone, a smirk playing on her lips. Honestly, Ellie's at a formative age. She said formative like she'd just learned the word. Plus, Lucy gets anxious in crowds. Boats are crowded. My mom put a hand over mine, like I was the one about to make a scene. It's not personal, Steven. We just couldn't afford 2 kids. We'll do something little with Lucy later. Maybe mini golf. Mini golf. She said it like it was some kind of medical insurance plan for hurt feelings. We're not made of money, son, Dad added, just in case I hadn't gotten the message. I heard the fridge hum. I heard Lucy swallow. I heard the hurt land, then go quiet, like a nail driven all the way in. Got it, I managed to say. My voice came out flat. Measured. Thanks for telling us. Mara stretched, letting out a dramatic yawn. Oh, also, Steven, could you look at the deck while you're here? It's bouncy. Ellie has friends over, and I don't want anyone to sue us. She grinned, flashing perfect teeth. You're handy. She said it like a compliment, but it felt like a locker combination. Handy meant free. Free meant invisible. I didn't argue. Not at the table. I just put gravy on Lucy's potatoes and asked if she wanted more carrots. She nodded, still not looking up. We ate. We smiled. Everyone pretended the room didn't just tilt on its axis. On the drive home, Lucy traced circles on the fogged window with her finger. Very softly, she asked, "Do you think Grandma forgot I like boats too?" I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. "I think Grandma forgot how feelings work loose." She laughed once, a small, fragile sound. Then she was quiet again. My mind started doing job math, lumber prices, overtime rates. As if I could frame a wall around her and keep the wind out. I didn't fight at dinner. I didn't send any angry messages. But something had settled in me, something hard and permanent, like concrete. I could feel it setting. The trigger was so simple, really. "We couldn't afford 2 kids," said out loud, with my kid sitting right there. That night, after I put Lucy to bed, I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, hoping it had answers. It didn't. The answers came later. They started with receipts and a list. But not that night. Not yet. That night, I just listened to my house breathe, and I promised myself I'd stop pretending I was just handy. I'm a dad. That's the only job I won't do cheap. People think blow-ups are one big thing. They're not. They're a pile. My pile started when I was 17 and learned you can carry debt you never made. When we were kids, Mara got the cheer uniform that didn't count because there was a booster fund. I got a lecture about the cost of cleats. In my 20s, when I first started on a crew, I'd bring home scrap wood and build shelves for my parents' garage. Dad said, "Finally, something useful." When I fixed their leaky shower, Mom hugged me. "You're a lifesaver." Then I handed her the invoice. Just materials, no labor. And she blinked. "Oh, I thought this was your gift." That's how it always went. I framed their basement at family rate. I replaced their water heater on a Sunday because the installer was a scammer. I bought them a new TV when their old one started making everything purple. "You know the deals," Dad would say. I paid. They thanked me. Then they'd ask, "Could you mount it, too, since you're already here?" I was always already there. It wasn't just my labor. It was money. It dripped like a faucet you can't quite shut off. "Stephen, can you add us to your Costco card? It's easier." "Stephen, can you put the deck materials on your contractor account? We'll pay you back." "Stephen, you know computers. Can you order the right laptop for Ellie? Send me the link. Actually, can you just put it on your card and I'll Venmo?" The Venmo rarely came. Or it came once for $50 with a heart emoji and "You're the best." Meanwhile, I kept receipts. Not because I'm petty. I keep score because I need numbers to think. Over 3 years, all that family stuff added up to real money. New TV, $879. Water heater, plus valves, $1,142. Emergency electrician on a holiday because Dad tripped a breaker with a space heater and a saw. $285 call out, plus $160 in parts. Deck materials on my account for the discount, $2,600. Laptop for Ellie's design class, $1,199. Costco runs, we'll split later, $1,940. Miscellaneous $37 here, $82 there. $110 for a rental truck because Dad wanted a big grill the day before the sale ended. I can afford my life. I budget. I save. I buy boots before the holes get dangerous. But there's a difference between helping and being a line item. Mara, she knew how to make a favor sound like praise. "You're so good with your hands," she'd say, handing me a broken door. "You're so responsible," she'd coo, forwarding me a bill just this once. She'd call my job blue collar when she was being fake nice, and manual labor when she was annoyed. Either way, I was the guy who lifted. My parents? They love me. I don't doubt that. But their love was tangled up in this story where my job came with a never-ending family warranty. They'd brag about me to neighbors in a way that felt like a coupon. "Our son does construction. Best in the county." Then they'd ask if I could just look at the neighbor's fence as a favor because it's good for business. It wasn't. It was just free. Lucy saw it all. She saw me pack up for quick stops that turned into 4 hours and pizza money. She'd sit on the steps, watching me load my tools. "Is this a work job or a grandma job?" she'd ask. I'd say grandma job. She'd nod, like she already understood what that meant. The month before the cruise announcement, I built a pergola for my parents. At my cost. 2 weekends, $1,300 in cedar. I told Dad, "Just pay materials." He said, "I'll do you one better," and handed me an envelope. Inside, $300 cash for your time, he said, squeezing my shoulder like I'd won a prize. I said, "Thanks." I went home, put the envelope in a drawer, and stared at it, like it might hatch into respect if I left it long enough. Then came the cruise speech. Couldn't afford 2 kids. The cold math of it. The casual way they handed my child the short straw. After dinner, while Lucy brushed her teeth, I scrolled through photos on my phone. I was looking for the last time she was so excited she couldn't sleep. It was when we camped by the lake, and she thought the raccoon footsteps were fairies. She was 6. With marshmallow on her chin, she told me, "We're rich in stars." I'd written that in my notes app. I looked at it again, and I decided, right then, that no one was ever going to talk about my kid like she was a budget problem again. I didn't say anything then. I waited. I watched how the next week went. Mom sent 3 texts about cruise excursions, parasailing. Ellie deserves this. Mara posted a countdown on her story. Dad sent me a link to a great deal on composite decking, adding, "Let's plan our spring project while we're on vacation." Lucy pretended she didn't care, but her bedtime questions gave it away. Do boats have quiet rooms? Does grandma get seasick? If you're scared on a boat, can you look at the sky instead? If I save my allowance, can I buy my own ticket? How much are tickets? How many dog walking jobs is that? I answered what I could. Boats have quiet corners. Grandma has a strong stomach. The sky helps. It's a lot of dog walking. I started writing that list. Everything in my parents' house that I'd bought. Everything connected to me. The TV, the washer, dryer, grill, the pergola materials, the deck boards sitting in the garage for spring. The Ring camera system I'd installed after Dad said the neighborhood was getting sketchy. I didn't write it to be mean. I wrote it like an inventory, because that's how I think. A simple question followed. Why are my things in a house that talks about my kid like she's optional? I put the list away. I kept my voice steady in front of Lucy. I told myself I'd talk to my parents after the cruise, calmly, with numbers. Then, 3 nights later, Mom called. So casually, I almost missed it. "Oh, can you feed the cat and water the plants while we're gone? And take a look at the sump pump. It's making a sound." She paused. "We'll leave you the key." The key? Like I didn't already have one. Like I wasn't already the guy who shows up and resets the breaker when the freezer beeps. "Sure," I said. "I'll take care of it." And I meant it. I was going to take care of it. Just not the way they expected. The big scene wasn't yelling. It was packing. They left on a Saturday. Matching shirts, rolling suitcases, sun hats in Michigan in March because Mom loves a theme. Ellie shrieked when the Uber pulled up. "Bye," she sang to Lucy, like Lucy was just a neighbor kid she barely knew. Lucy waved, then put her hand down, then put it back up, like she was practicing the right amount of polite. When the car turned the corner, she asked, "Do we feed the cat now?" Her voice was steady. Mine wasn't. "Yes," I said. Their house was quiet. That fake quiet you get when you take noise with you. The cat glared, then leaned into Lucy's palm like it was always hers. I checked the sump pump. It was fine. It was just old, like a lot of things in that house, except for the things I'd replaced. I opened the pantry and saw the Costco bulk I'd hauled last month. I stood in the living room and saw the TV I bought. I walked to the laundry room and saw the washer and dryer I'd ordered the day their old ones died mid-cycle. I put my ear to the water heater I'd installed when theirs popped and soaked the hallway. I looked at the pergola out back and the deck boards stacked in the garage, waiting for spring. I took out my phone and opened the list. Then I opened a note I'd written the night of the cruise conversation. At the top, I'd typed, *, this isn't revenge. This is a boundary. * under it. *, if they choose one grandchild, I choose mine. If they call money love, I take my love back to my house. *, Dad? Lucy called from the kitchen. "The cat likes me." "I like you too, Luce," I said. I called my friend Nate. We work together. Sometimes. He owns a truck and has a back that doesn't complain. "You busy?" I asked. "For you?" "You know it," he said. "What's the job?" "Moving," I said. "Whose?" "Mine," I said. "And also not mine." He laughed. "Be there in 20. We didn't take anything that wasn't mine. We didn't touch their couch, their table, or their photos. We unplugged the TV I'd bought and wrapped it like it was glass. We unscrewed the Ring cam and patched the hole. We slid the washer and dryer onto dollies and strapped them tight. We loaded the grill I'd assembled with the same care I'd put into assembling it. We left the pergola. It was cemented. It wasn't about making them suffer. It was about stopping the bleed. Lucy held a clipboard, checking items off my list. TV check. Washer check. She took it so seriously. God, I love that kid. Halfway through, I found the envelope with the $300 Dad gave me for the pergola. It was in the junk drawer, under rubber bands and expired coupons. I put it on the counter. We left a note in the kitchen, right where they'd set their keys. I kept it simple. Mom, Dad, you said you couldn't afford 2 kids, so you picked Ellie. I heard you. I'm not going to argue while you're gone. I'm going to act like my kid matters. The items I bought, TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring cam, deck materials, are now at my house. They were mine to begin with. I left the receipts on the table, with the $300 you gave me for the pergola, since it bothered both of us. Lucy and I won't be here when you get back. We're done doing handy person work in exchange for being told we cost too much. If you want a relationship with us, the price is respect. If you want free labor, call a contractor. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure and boundaries. Stephen P.S. Cat food is on the bottom shelf. Sump pump sounds normal. I shut off the hose bib for the season. Nate read it and nodded. Fair, he said. We drove home. My garage looked like a small appliance store. It also looked like mine. Lucy asked if we could watch a movie on our TV, on the floor with blankets. We did. She fell asleep halfway through. I moved her to bed, then sat on the couch, waiting for my phone to light up with airport selfies and sunset emojis. It didn't. Not yet. They were at sea. That was the loudest quiet I'd ever heard. They came back 10 days later. My phone started vibrating before sunrise, like it had a nervous system of its own. First, Mom. Stephen, where's the TV? What is happening? Then, Dad. Call me now. Then, Mara, bro. The group chat is on fire. Did you rob Mom and Dad? Ellie is crying. I didn't answer right away. I made Lucy pancakes. I put blueberries in a smile and didn't say anything about how corny that was. She smiled back for real. At 9:12 a.m., Dad called again. I picked up. You took our stuff, he said. No, hello. No, I said. I took my stuff. Receipts are on your table. You're a thief, he snapped. I'm an owner. I corrected him. And a parent. You embarrassed us, he bellowed. Your mother cried. You embarrassed me when you told my daughter she was the one you couldn't afford. I shot back, my voice steady. And you didn't cry then. He went silent, then tried a new door. We needed those things. So did we, I said. But we didn't tell a 9-year-old that she was too expensive for a memory. He exhaled into the phone, like he was blowing out a birthday candle with pure hate. Bring them back. No, I said. We're done playing rich with my wallet. He hung up. 3 dots. 3 dots. 3 dots in the family chat. Then Mom. This is so cruel. We were going to surprise Lucy with a beach day next month. Mara, you took back a washer? Who does that? Me. I typed. A person who bought it. Mara called. You took their Ring camera. Are you insane? The neighborhood is sketchy. I left the base, I said. You can buy a camera body for $99. Why are you being like this? She demanded. Because of a cruise? You're mad about a cruise. I'm not mad about a cruise, I said, a dangerous calm in my voice. I'm clear about a pattern. What pattern? She scoffed. The one where I build your deck, pay for your laptop, set up your alarms, and then my kid gets told she's the extra, I explained. That pattern. She huffed. You love to count. Yes, I said. Because counting stops people from gaslighting you. She tried to go for the throat. Lucy's sensitive. You cuddle her too much. Lucy's sensitive to disrespect, I said. So am I now. I sent an email after the calls because phones turn people into actors. Emails make them read. Subject, items purchased by me, plus going forward. Bullet points. TV, washer, dryer, grill, Ring camera, deck boards. Dates, costs, attached photos of receipts. A short paragraph. Over the last 36 months, I have spent $7,750 on items in your home. I'm not asking for reimbursement. I'm relocating my purchases to my house. Going forward, I'm not available for unpaid labor or loans. If you need a contractor, I can recommend 3. Mom replied with a photo of the empty TV wall and the caption, "This looks awful." I typed and deleted 4 replies. I ended with, "It does." That's how it felt to hear you say my kid didn't fit. Then my phone lit up with a new notification. It was my mother, on the doorbell cam I had just installed at my place. She was on my porch, hands on hips, looking like she was about to tell an HOA I'd violated a bylaw. I opened the door before she could knock. "Mom," I said. She didn't hug me. She leaned, trying to look past me like she could spot the TV with her eyes. "You took it," she said. "Yes," I replied. Her mouth trembled. "You always do this," she whispered, her voice cracking. "You make me feel like a bad mother." I took a breath. "I didn't make you say you couldn't afford 2 grandchildren." She flinched. "It was money. We didn't have enough money." "You had enough for matching shirts," I said. "You had enough for parasailing." She blinked rapidly. "We wanted to do something special for Ellie. She's older." "Then say that," I countered, without pretending it's math. "Say you picked Ellie. Don't hide it behind affordability while you stand in front of the TV I paid for." Her face went soft for a second, like she actually heard me. Then it hardened again. "Your dad is furious," she warned. "He says you can forget about the house. He won't leave you anything." "Okay," I said. "Leave it to the person you can afford." She gasped, like I'd slapped her. "Don't be cruel." "I'm being literal," I said. "I'm not auditioning for an inheritance." She looked around, like my porch might offer her a different line. Then she saw Lucy behind me, holding the cat carrier for no reason, like she just wanted to have something in her hands. Mom swallowed. "Hi, sweetie," she said. Lucy lifted her hand in a small wave. "Hi, Grandma." Mom looked back at me. "We'll talk later," she said, and left without another glance. The next 48 hours were loud. 16 calls, 32 texts, 2 emails from Dad that read like angry Yelp reviews. 1 message from Mara, a photo of Ellie crying with, "Are you happy now?" I didn't reply. I refused to respond to weaponized tears. Then it went quiet. Quiet is heavy when you grew up in noise. I kept moving, because if I sat still too long, I'd start apologizing out of muscle memory. I returned the $300 envelope. I slid it under their door with an index card that said, "This was never enough. Keep it." Not a dig, just true. I went to work. I built a stair stringer that fit the first time. I came home, helped Lucy with spelling, and installed our own Ring camera. I took back the time I spent fixing their house and used it on ours. Lucy and I made a chore chart. We made a weekend plan. Yard cleanup, library, a cheap diner with pancakes the size of steering wheels. I set aside $50 every Friday in a new account labeled Lucy's First Trip. Not to make the world fair, but to remind myself I control our corner of it. A week later, Dad texted, "So, we're done then." I wrote back, "We're not done. We're different." He left it on read. That was better than his usual thumbs down. Mara tried to bargain. "If you bring back the washer, I'll pay you half." I wrote, "It's installed here." She said, "Fine, I'll just use the laundromat like a peasant." I said nothing. Then, 10 minutes later, "What brand is a good budget washer?" I sent 2 links. She bought one. Her next text, "Thanks." I screenshotted it, not to gloat, but to remember she's capable. When I stopped cushioning, Mom sent a card inside, "Family first," and a photo of the cruise sunset. I almost laughed. I put it in a drawer. The loudest reaction came 2 weeks later, at church of all places. A woman I vaguely knew cornered me by the coffee. "I heard you took your parents' washer," she whispered, eyes bright. "Is it true?" "Yes," I said. "That's bold," she whispered. "No," I said. "It's ownership." She blinked and walked away like I'd said a swear. The practical part of the aftermath was easy. Deliveries, screws, brackets. The emotional part was a saw that kept binding. I kept repeating the line because it kept me from going soft in the wrong places. Asterisk, this isn't about revenge. This is about closure. Asterisk, one night, while I was changing a light fixture, Lucy came in with 2 rocks cupped in her hands. "This one is heavy but small," she said. "This one is big but light." She put them on the table like words. I nodded, suddenly useless with my hands. "Exactly," I said. "Can we go to the lake again this summer?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "With or without anyone." She smiled. "We're rich in stars." We are. Closure for me wasn't an apology speech on a porch in the rain. It was a lot of boring, good choices in a row. I moved every monthly dollar I used to drop on family emergencies into 2 new buckets, Lucy trip and house repairs. I wrote an email to my parents that said, "If you want help with a project, I can send referrals. My rates are the same as for any client. If you want to see us, great. Sundays at the park, no projects discussed." I printed a copy and taped it inside my kitchen cabinet, next to the thermostat schedule and Lucy's art. Mom started texting photos of recipes and the dog and hats. She stopped sending invoices disguised as favors. Dad slowed down to one grumble a week. You think you're better than us? He said once on the phone. No, I said. I think we're separate now. He didn't know what to do with that sentence. That's okay. It wasn't for him. Mara tried a new tone after her laundromat week. I'm getting quotes on the deck, she texted. Do you have tips so I don't get ripped off? I sent 3 questions to ask and told her to get it in writing. She said, thanks, again, without teeth. Progress. When the cruise photos came up in my mom's living room a month later, Lucy and I weren't there. We were at the lake, with sandwiches and bug spray. She skipped rocks. I counted them out loud. She got to 5. We cheered like it was the Olympics. That night, she fell asleep in the car on the drive home. I carried her to bed and saw the rocks lined up on her windowsill. She'd added 2 new ones. She'd written tiny names on the bottoms in pencil. I didn't flip them over. Some things are hers alone. If you need the moral spelled out, here it is, as plainly as I can say it. I'm not a wallet with a wrench attached. I'm a father. If you tell my kid she doesn't fit, you don't get my things, my time, or my skill. Respect is the price of admission. Pay it or stay home. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I wrote it on a note once, now I live it. It looks like pancakes on Sundays, a washer that hums in our hallway, a TV we sit too close to on movie nights, and a little girl who knows she's never the extra. My parents can say I'm dramatic. Mara can call me petty. People at church can clutch pearls about washers. Fine. I'll be the man who counted, set a boundary, and stuck to it without yelling. My name is Steven. I build things that don't wobble. This time, I built a boundary. It holds. Call to action *. I'm curious. What would you have done in my shoes? Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with family, even when it felt impossible? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I really want to hear what you think.